Okay, so here's how I want to start the, we don't have a ton of people here, so this is going to be great. But,
Well, sometimes you can't do some things because there's too many
you know
people
what
in
I'm
there.
saying? There's so many people, like it takes forever, right? We're going to give each other a word, like something like that. Come on, you know this.
I know, it's just funny.
Well, okay,
No, but
let's
we're glad you're happy.
keep that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so, all right, so what has happened in this season that I've noticed, and I say season, let's just say last 2 years, okay, is that we've been conditioned not to touch each other. We've been conditioned that we don't even have to smile because it's been all hidden. You get it? All right, so tonight I would like to start us to recondition ourselves. And I just want you to take a moment, get up, and because you're supposed to greet each other with a holy kiss. So we kind of say,
Get your lips right. No kidding.
Buttercup, yeah. Okay, no.
It'll just freak everybody out in the room.
Greet each other with a holy hug.
Hug.
All
Holy
right?
hugs.
And so anyway, so let's all stand
Get
and
up.
greet each other.
Yeah, holy
Get
hugs.
used to it.
Holy hugs. Grab me.
I can't go too far.
No.
You're old, doesn't you?
Have them come up.
I can just turn it off. I'll do that.
Surviving. Yeah? Yeah, because today is the second year.
Holy hugs. I don't think I gave you one today.
Hug it, not hug it. Hi. I'm so happy. Bring it in.
Holy hug.
Oh.
Holy hug.
Holy hugs, holy hugs.
Hey, how are you, buddy? Yeah, too. That's like, yeah, just trying to figuring it out. Actually, I'm not really figuring it out.
Glad you came yesterday. We're going to do a big Sunday too. So we're going to do it again next Sunday. Okay, I'll probably be there. Okay, good. Hey, you think that's awesome?
You haven't Passover.
I know, I have to tell. I have to. Where do we go from here?
No, I mean, it's too far from me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, cool. All right.
Because I gotta get back and then.
So then you gotta go to Roy Block. Yeah. I got you.
So you're still going to Legacy?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it because I the pastor there.
So to go along with that, she was talking about happy, joy. That's actually something that the Lord has spoken to me about, and it had to do with all of what we just did. Where he said, I just realized I didn't have anything to really smile about, before. You should, because of your life in Jesus. And so the Lord was encouraging me to smile all the time. Be happier, I get in deep thought and I just go zone out. Don't I, Mark? Zone. But when I did, and just smiled intentionally, man, the joy of the Lord came on me. I thought, oh. And, laughter, it's funny, but you want joy, laughter comes with it. You have to be a laugher.
Yeah.
It brings healing,
that.
yeah. Mhm.
So anyway, that was just one of those side notes. You get something for that?
No, I was just, laughter brings healing. It's funny when you see the Holy Spirit come on people and they just start busting up laughing. There's usually lots of inner healing going on in the midst of that. And they can't stop. And you're going, are you going to stop yet? Well, no, there's more to be done. And you'll see them, they'll go for a very long time. It's really cool. Anyways, yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna do a little dive in here and talk about some things. So, do you know? Have you ever had someone that the only time they ever had a conversation with you is when they wanted to correct you or had a problem with you? It could have been a boss. I had that.
Yes.
I had a pastor. I had a pastor like that. You know, every time he's like, "Hey, can we talk?" I was in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we never have a conversation otherwise.
That's sad.
That's
Well,
really
yeah,
sad.
it's a bad thing, and I always say, let's, you know, it's like, let's have relationship too, you know, maybe just go out for lunch sometime. Well, what for? I don't need to talk to you when you're in trouble. Yeah, I know. So, well, that's kind of how we are, or how we can be with God. I need something. I need some help. You know, other than that, we don't say a whole lot. We don't spend a ton of time in His presence. Now, when you're in His presence, or when you're just, sometimes you're just being still, and He's not saying much, and you're not saying much, those are great times.
Yeah, those are
You
really
know.
good times.
What it creates in you is when you're walking in faith and you're not feeling anything, you know it's true. You're going to go walk and do it anyway because you know He's with you. And sometimes He's there giving you a big hug along the way. And those are good times too. But talk to God all the time, not just when it's like, I'm drowning, you know? And have that kind of relationship.
No, I was just going to say, I think that's good. For me, starting my day with thankfulness is a big deal. Because it sets kind of a pattern to be able to walk in joy through your day. So I get, sometimes I wake up, but you're not really out of bed yet. Not a long time, or you'll fall back to sleep. But, you know, I start thanking Him for, one, man, I have a nice bed I can sleep in. I have this amazing roof over my head. I have this great husband next to me. I have wonderful children. I have wonderful grandchildren. I mean, it can go on forever. Thanking all the people that we have in our hubs, my friends, you know. Thankfulness. God, you are so good. Everything about you is good. There's nothing in you that's not good. You know, you just could go on and on and on. Well, by the time you get out of bed, you're feeling pretty good. With Him. You know, it really changes your perspective and causes you to be in that place of all kinds of communication with Him.
Gratefulness.
Great, yeah. Thankfulness and gratefulness.
Yeah.
And praise.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
And worship.
Yeah, we kind of got, this last weekend, we kind of got a little bit of that, and, you know, I don't remember the whole thing, so I'll have to watch the tape, but it was like, here's praise, and then right past that is worship, as far as the depth of
Thankfulness, praise, worship.
It was the outer court, the inner court, and the Holy of
there it
Holies.
is, yeah, thankfulness, praise,
And worship.
and then worship.
Yeah.
Cool. So that gets you into the
Holy of
Holy of
Holies. Yeah, that was really good. He's like,
Can't you just see yourself just saying, I'm just jealous for your presence, Lord. I'm just yearning to be near you. I'm yearning to hear you.
all the time.
All those good things.
Mhm.
So, don't be afraid of trials.
Mhm.
God doesn't bring trials to take anything away from you. It's never a trial. The trials are to build you up and place you into the next level where He wants you to go. You can't get there without a little character build, without a little, situation that challenges you.
You said a little character builder. I said, or a lot.
There's that. But it was never meant, you know, for you to, you know, it's like an upgrade. And it's not a, you're in trouble. You got something, you know.
Or I did something wrong.
Yeah. It feels like you're, sometimes it can feel like this. It can feel like you're kind of set out over here, like God set you apart. But it's not to spank you and put you in the corner. It's so that he can, you know, shore up the relationship and the intimacy he has with you so that you can be the thing the next step is.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that thing is.
It's also really good because sometimes we have ungodly beliefs. And when you go through trials, it tends to get you to knowing what is true about who God is and what he says. And the purpose of those things are to get those things out of you. Like, for instance, if you're going through a trial and you think God's a taskmaster, your trial is going to turn out different than he anticipated it to be. So finding out who the core, the heartbeat, everything about who God is, you'll have an understanding, well, this trial is not about that. It's about something completely different. But if you have ungodly beliefs, your trials tend to get belabored, or they keep happening, or you keep going around this circle because you have an ungodly belief. And it's a good way to check where you're at with God if your trial keeps going again. And then it's a little better, and then you go again with the same kind of thing, or you go again, then there's something else going on, and that's a good way to check that. Like, what's my belief system? Because there's something that's not right in this.
When the Word of God comes, the Rhema is a seed. And within that seed is everything that's needed for that to grow in you. The Word never comes to you without everything that you need.
Right.
It's an awesome thought, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That seed of faith, right?
Right.
I mean, didn't they find some seeds that are like 3,000 years old? They planted them, and, you know, in some of these sarcophagus or something, and they planted them and they grew.
That's wow.
The information is
Yeah.
there, and all of it is in that one part, and that's how when his word goes out. And in order to hear that word, you have to be in a place, sometimes set aside, you know,
Floating in the wind.
set aside so that you can hear his voice. And it'll be a continual getting better hearing his voice.
Yeah. Practice.
Practice. Okay.
It is a practice.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a story about what happened to me this weekend. My sister and brother-in-law came down, and we spent the whole weekend talking about God.
It was great.
Either listening to the Word or talking about God. And that's everything from just sitting on the couch to driving to Rio Grande and back. And then we'd go and sit down, we'd have dinner, and, you know, we'd talk about God. So we're constantly talking about God. It was a fun time, okay? But Friday night, I'm sitting on the couch, and, you know, we're talking about God, and it's all good. Then these memories came to my mind. I mean, they were like the worst of my worst memories of my past. When I say past, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't anything I did last week.
He said it was before me, and I was 16 when I met him, so it was a long time ago.
There are things that we're not proud of, things that we've done and we're ashamed of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of memories that came to me. And I didn't realize, you know, I mean, I was kind of curious, you know, I thought, you know, because you're thinking, okay, remember last week we dealt with sin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's going on? And the realization came that the reason why I was remembering these awful things, well, first I thought, okay, it's got to be an attack because we're going to go to this great conference, you know, with a friend of ours. Yeah. But the second thing was that in those memories, I had not forgiven myself. They weren't there because there's some demonic force, trying to, the devil's trying to get me, I needed to forgive myself. It was that simple, and now I don't, they're just, whoosh. But, oh. And I think it's a key that we have to remember, because we have things that, either things that were done to us, or things that we've done, that seem to stick. And I know we've talked about this, inner healing, all these things, and I think it's true, but even in inner healing is to be able to, the act of forgiving yourself is the heal, is the actual heal of the healing.
It's interesting because I was talking with Donna and Maureen. We were talking about it a little bit. They're like, what are you going to talk about? I go, well, one of the things we're going to talk about is self-forgiveness, because we carry things like we've forgiven people, we forgive people, and then we never forgave ourselves for even taking on the offense or participating in it in any way, right? And then Donna started talking, and she goes, well, it probably, when we don't forgive ourselves, it puts us in a place where we judge others. Because the second commandment is to love others like you love yourself, but if you haven't forgiven yourself, you don't love yourself.
That's right.
So it's a cycle that you can get in where you can't love your neighbor as yourself because you still haven't forgiven yourself. And you tend to be, we all know people that are very judgmental, like all the time. And it's probably a self-forgiveness issue. So just a little thing there. That was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Talking about God.
But it was a quick fix. And I say that not like I was looking for something quick, but it quickly healed these memories that I just don't ever want to think about ever again. And that's just like, like she was saying, I was a willing participant, thus and so, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
They no longer have power over you.
Yeah.
At all, yeah.
They may still be remembered, but not with any power that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You have the power now.
Yeah.
And more than likely, when they're old like that and you've forgiven yourself of them, you don't usually ever see them again. Because the enemy really can't use them anymore.
Yeah,
And so they're kind of,
Yeah.
they'll find something new to try to,
I don't know if I told you the story yet, but I was 20 years old, and I was going to Calvary, Costa Mesa, and I got saved in my van. I know I did because, I made a decision even before that, and Jesus showed up, and sweet, sweet time. But I kept getting this thing, you never went to the church and went forward. Legalism.
yeah.
You know how I got rid of it? I went to the church and I went forward.
A bunch of times. I'm going to do it
Now
again.
what's he going to say? Okay, and he's going, okay, wait. You take the air out of it. It's kind of like, instead of punching somebody for constantly saying something to you or something about you, sometimes you just play into it. You're right. You make it a game. Now it's no fun unless you're mad, right? So it's like, take the air out of the balloon, So does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think, and some of you that were at the conference were really like this. But you know this already, but those of you that weren't, Ken's alarm went off in the middle of the conference on his watch. And he's like, I'm sorry, but he goes, I set my watch because every time it goes off, I pray for my enemies. And he used his birth date, which was 3/19.
Yeah.
So it went off at 3/19.
But he had to be preaching at the time.
Yeah, and he happened to be preaching at the time. But he stopped, prayed for his enemies, then went back to teaching. And I thought, that's a really good thing. Just said it. For me, I'm 8:14. I get it twice a day when I'm awake. He gets one in the middle of the night. Depending when your, birth date lies. So I just thought, God, that's an amazing thing. We don't think about that, and we don't necessarily even know if we have enemies, one, but there's always somebody that's got something against you. And it just covers anybody that does or has anything, their thoughts, or has done anything wrong. You just automatically bless them and forgive them, and that God would have their way. That was I thought that was a great thing. So that's just a little nugget that also helps that life of yours get in a better place, because you're automatically forgiving those that have ought against you. That was a good little perk.
Okay. You want to get into ministry?
Yeah, I do. Let's stand up for a sec. Can you stand? Are you okay to stand? And we're actually, yeah. Spread out anywhere you want to. If you want to stand next to your spouse, you can. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to ask the Lord if there's any place in us where we've not forgiven ourselves. And do it, because we need to. And I really believe that it was significant for tonight when Mike was saying it this morning to me. I think he was talking to me about it. The power of God just came, and he had already gone through the process, but just the presence of the Lord came over him in such a way that we're going, man, I know